My entire TikTok became famous and big mostly when I started attacking Americans on how poor they are when it comes to their finances. And people tell me, my job doesn't pay enough, this doesn't pay enough, I cannot keep up with expenses, etc., etc. So for once, I'm gonna do a different video. Actually, instead of talking about the complicated stuff you see out there on a daily basis, we're gonna tackle the main expenses of Americans, where the numbers are in America, and what can be done to improve them based on actually average data that I found out there, personal experiences, and experiences of people that are here around me on a daily basis. So let's get to it right here. The main expenses of Americans, as you see online right now, are, of course, rent. Everybody has been complaining about housing in the past 3 years, not only buying, but also renting. Rent has been going up. Cars, groceries, even though this one should be down here, health insurance. People hate health insurance and health in general in America. And I added another little one because when I saw the number, I got really pissed. So you will find alcohol right here, which is a big expense for Americans. The way this is set up, I apologize for my writing, it sucks, but that's the way I write. I'm like a crazy professor. We have the average in the US, taken from the internet, the solution, or at least some ways to reduce this cost here, the discount from that solution, and then we're gonna add the totals right here to see how much you could potentially save by doing the stuff we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna start with rent. Rent, guys, is right here. The average rent in the US is $1,372. It sounds like a lot. I believe, especially on the low end, the smaller apartments charge a much higher rent per square footage compared to bigger houses. If you go to the bigger cities, you know, New York, $4,000 an apartment, DC, $2,000 an apartment, here in Northern Virginia, $1,600 per apartment. So some of you might say, no, that's impossible. Others will say, okay, this is quite feasible. It depends on where you are. So again, also when I look at the solution, the numbers will be averages, which means that if you see a discount on average, you should see a discount pretty much throughout the whole spectrum, in some case much more compared to other cases. So rent is pretty high, considering that the average income, net income, is between $4,000 and $5,000 a month. This is quite a big chunk. Some of you, again, might punch me in the face saying, I don't make $5,000 a month. I understand. Some will, some don't. What is the solution to this? This video here is more targeted to the younger people. So we're talking about from 20 to 35. And yes, I know 35-year-old people that have been doing this, and it's fine. It's fine. If you want to buy a house, it is okay to make a sacrifice, especially if you're single. Solutions are multiple. The first one, we all know it. You've been a student in the past. Rooms. You can live with roommates. Just find a good roommate, and on average, you're going to be saving around $370 or $400 on average compared to renting an entire apartment. The second one, if you're somebody like me, if you have a family, understand that 50% of you do not have a strong bonded family, so it's okay, shit happens. You gotta work what you have, go back to your family. That can be free, or they might charge you a little bit of the mortgage. In my case right now, we decided to still live in my family's house. My parents are back in Italy, but we're paying for mortgage and expenses, which is still costing us a good chunk, but a little less compared to rent. We have a big house, we live together, the feeling of community is beautiful, we're Italian, that's the way we work. Some of your favorite influencers, like the Tates, they work together, they live together, and they're in their 40s, and they're millionaires. There's nothing to be wrong with that. Lastly, rent hacking. What is rent hacking? Rent hacking, guys, is something that not all landlords allow, but it's a very good system. Supposedly, you get an apartment for one person at $1,372. You know that a room can rent for $995. As I told you that a smaller apartment rents for much more per square foot compared to a bigger apartment. Supposedly, you can get a 3-bedroom plus 3-bathroom for $2,000. And you know that renting a room is $995. What you do is you rent this under your name, you sub-rent 2 rooms at $1,000, and boom, you got yourself free rent by having 2 people pay less in rent because you're doing them a favor by giving them the availability of 2 rooms, and you're getting your own rent paid, and you're good. You could potentially live for free by rent hacking. Should you do it? I don't know, that's for you to choose, not financial advice. Do your own research. If I had to do my own rent and I'd be okay with living with people, that's probably my main option that I would go for. But it's not for everybody. It requires some extra management. That is the cost for free rent. Number 2, we have cars. This is the one that pisses me off the most. I fucking hate it. People are moronic in this country, and I'm saying this because I worked in a car dealership as my first job. People cannot even finance a hot dog, and they finance a brand new Jeep Grand Cherokee for, on average, $730 a month. If they're financing a new car, it has to be a certified new car, so they finance it for $528 a month. That is nuts. You're literally giving away 1/5 of your income straight into car payments. For what? For going from A to B. You just need something reliable that you can keep for a long time. You don't need to be a baller right now. It's much better to be balling in vacation than with a brand new Kia, which is still a fucking Kia and doesn't do anything, but that's for you to choose, whatever. The fact is, if you were going for something cheaper, you can go for something cheaper and probably more reliable than the new car. Have you ever noticed why mechanics never drive new cars? Because they don't like to work on them, and they know that new cars have, in many cases, this is, I cannot confirm it, but I will just say planned obsolescence. Do you remember the batteries of iPhones? Exactly that same concept on newer cars. The fact is, you can find reliable cars for under 5K. I own 3 cars that are before 2010. They all still work. One has 200,000 miles, another one has 80,000 miles and still has plenty more of living. The other one has 150,000 miles. The one with 200,000 miles, I use it on the track and it still runs. As long as you do maintenance, it is easier. And it's not even notorious for being a reliable car. It's a BMW M3. If it was a Toyota Corolla, I could drive it for hundreds of thousands of miles as long as I do the good maintenance, which is cheap. That's for you to choose. So again, you can get good cars if you're young. You can get a good car for under 5K. You can also get a good fun car for under 5K. You'll be surprised. I used Mini. Some of you might say it's not reliable, some will. I own drive a Mini, I had it for 3 years, it's amazing. You can be lucky, you can be unlucky. The fact is, that is a very good market. You can find good stuff for under 5K if you look around. If you want to play it safe, you can be under 10K. If you finance something like this, you probably have a payment that is less than half the 528 that you saw. If you're able to buy it cash, you're literally eliminating this cost every single month for a long while. I put here a discount for $300 a month to $700 a month if you're paying the whole thing out cash, $300 a month if you're financing the car. Of course, the calculation is not perfect, but at least it instills the idea. Number 3, groceries, food. My TikTok also became very famous because I talked about food. Why are Italians so long when it comes to longevity? There are many reasons, but one of them is food. We cook at home. Going to a restaurant in Italy is more of an event, it's more of a weekend thing. You do it here and there. You don't go there every day. I was surprised when I first moved to America and I started my office job after the dealership job. All of my colleagues, my same age, making my $40,000 a year in an area that was very expensive to live in, every single day for lunch, they would go for lunch in a restaurant and pay $20. Why? Because they can't cook, they're lazy, they don't want to do anything. I was taking food from home. And if you look at food, if you look at groceries, the average cost of groceries goes from $300 to $550, which is fine. The problem is, on average, Americans spend $300 on eating out, which is not a lot. I believe this underestimates a lot the whole situation. I believe that we are, in these calculations, if you look online, it does not consider Americans going out to eat also for lunch, which many people do, but I wanted to be conservative and I left it this way. For a total cost of 300 plus 300 on the low end, so 600 or even 850 a month, which you can do whatever you want with your money, I understand, but I believe it's unnecessary, and in most cases even unhealthier, because when you go to a restaurant, you don't even know what the hell they're putting in the food. I'm telling you, as an Italian, when you eat carbonara in a restaurant, they put cream, which should not go in carbonara because it is an attack to Italian culture, but that's my own perspective. So if you remove the $300 meat eating out, or just reduce it by $150 because you're going out for weekends, you're still a human being, and I'm okay with going out, by the way. You need some sanity. It's totally fine. You can have a general discount of $200, I say $250, because of the discussion we had at the beginning, from food, which is one of the bigger expenses. You can definitely gain some money there. Next one, health insurance. This one is tricky. This one is hard. I understand how complex health insurance is. What can we do about health insurance? The average health insurance payment, my guys, is $560 a month for the average American. It is a factor. There's little we can do. Sometimes it is given to us by our companies. If it is given by our companies, our health insurance plans is much lower, tends to be around 200, but I'm going to use the full, I'm going to pay out-of-pocket cost. What can you do? As you do with insurances, as you do with your phone plans, you call every year before you restart your insurance. You call. When you can, you call, you ask, you renew, you talk to brokers, you see the costs, you check yourself up, you become healthier. The healthier you stay, the checkups they do, the more you call brokers, the more you understand the market, the more you can negotiate. The more you can negotiate, the lower you can drop your price. Now, my case, I don't never want to use my case as an example because I believe I'm fairly healthy. If I have to pay out of pocket, I will take a plane and go to Italy. I want to be covered for emergencies and some general things. And an emergency is what happened to me a couple of months ago where I stepped on a nail and I had to get some stuff done very quickly. I have what they call a discount plan. A discount plan is something where you always pay out of pocket, but with discounts. In the case of the nail, I'll give you the perfect example. I had a $1,000 bill. I ended up paying only $200. When I do my teeth cleaning at the dentist, the professional one, instead of paying $400, I pay $50, which to me is fine. And I'm a frugal person. I tend to save money, so I'm okay with paying when it is necessary. It is not for everybody. If you are extremely unresponsible with money, perhaps more costly but more covering health insurance is better. Again, I'm not a professional. You should talk to a professional. I'm just giving out an opinion and what I use. My health insurance is $250, which is less than half of this. So that's another perk that I get. The money that I'm saving, I could potentially use to pay for the health that I need whenever I need it. And as per now, in the past 3 years where I've been using it, it was actually more advantageous for me to have this plan compared to a normal health insurance plans. So that's for you to choose. Lastly, number 3, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I apologize. The last one is alcohol. I should not add this one because it's on no budget, but I saw the number and I got angry. This number here is from millennials, so people my age. Gen Z is a little bit over a half this expense. It's a lot of money. This can be 30 cocktails. This can be 30 bottles of wine. If you like the Andrew Hubert show, I don't know his name again, the guy that talks about neuroscience and many things, he definitely made a video of how unhealthy this shit is for you. It is unhealthy, and it's very funny that it is illegal, and there's nothing wrong with it. I love wine. I'm a big lover of red wine. There's nothing wrong with it, as long as you don't exaggerate. I do not spend this amount of money, and I go to clubs every weekend. I get one drink, and that's it. I also have to drive, so I have one drink, and then I dance, and then I'm good, it's all fine. So there's a, let's say, legal perspective, but there's also the general approach perspective. Why do you have to get destroyed in the weekend to talk to people and look like a pillow? No, it's a waste of money. I'm not saying you should not spend any money because it is always nice, and if you like it, it's good. But blow your entire portfolio, your entire salary on this, I believe it's a waste, and it won't get you any place, if not the bed or the bathroom. So, of course, it's point of view, but I'm just saying this. What is the solution to it? I won't even say it. I mean, yeah, just do it less. How much can you save? I'm not saying 300 because a little bit is good. Let's say you're gonna save 150. My levels are exaggerated because I spend around $50 a month, which is not for everybody. You guys are famous for being chain drinkers, which is fine. Yeah? Just reduce it. That's crazy. So what are the results of all of this? Simple changes, nothing exaggerated for a young person. The changes in this, how much are you saving? $400. I'm going to choose the low end, $300, $950, $1,150, $1,250, $1,300. And this is the simple math. On average, you could save $1,300. In some cases, like rent, depending on the area, these changes could be much more dramatic. What would you do on average with $1,300 more? It's very simple. You could save it. And this is a month. This is a month. This is 1,300. That is $15,600 a year. On average. What can you do with that? That is the half of a down payment on actually, the average house is $300,000, so you will need $60K. In 4 years, you save the down payment on top of the money that you're already saving. That's a lot. This could be 3 cars paid in cash directly. This could be invested every year. If you do the just saved throughout 10, 20, 30 years, we're talking about an extra $450,000, $460,000 just saved without even investing. If you invest it, compounded. I haven't calculated it, but over 40 years, you definitely gotta be above 800,000, probably a million. You probably have to check on this one yourself. I'm gonna leave the link down below. Guys, this is all for now. I wanted to keep it simple. I just wanted to show you how easy budgeting is. There's so many hacks out there. Do not feel trapped in your place right now. Do not think that there's no way to reduce expenses. There's definitely many. Some cases you might be able to do it. Some cases you're already doing it, so you can focus on other areas, but it is definitely doable. There's always room. Guys, thank you for watching. If you saw any value on this video, please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Ciao.